Hello, Jenny.
Hello. It's so nice to be back.
Do you remember which country you were in now?
I don't, but when I came through passport control this morning, the man said, "You like Norway," because he looked at the stamps. I said, "I do. I like it very much."
That is nice. Norway likes you, and you like Norway, so that's great. And thank you for coming back to us. And I know you've been on like a tour. Now you've been to Prague, you've been to France. I think you came via London.
I have. Do you know, I was in Paris and it was so cold and it rained the entire time. It was terrible. And then I come to Oslo and it is perfect.
We're so happy.
Oh,
we try to keep it this way when you're here. In the conversation that was just before us, that was in Norwegian. I know you're working on your Norwegian, but and I know that you can play it quite well. You know, if you keep the conversation very short, like ja, takk. Yeah. So I know that you know the most important words. And Björk here was talking about the importance of saying takk, thank you, and also about like the gratitude to people around us. And I thought they were also talking about love, and love being like a fire or a fireplace where you need to keep carrying, wood or coals to keep it burning, and not just romantic love, but also like in a community or between friends. And then I was thinking that this is also very typical for your books, like the series that people here maybe know the most well, the Mure-serien, so the one that starts with the Sommer seaside kitchen from Mure, and with the Flora Mackenzie books. And when I was thinking about that, I thought it's like the books are about Flora and her love life, but also about her friends and the community. What are your thoughts about community in your books?
I think in Scotland we had a really strict lockdown during the pandemic, and you know what? I could talk to my friends online, and my family were there. I really missed the little interactions with like somebody in the shop who you like, or a bus driver. And also culturally in Scotland, not in other countries, but in Scotland, you must talk to everyone. It is the law. If you are in the supermarket and you don't discuss everything you buy with like what you're having for dinner, that is considered very rude, okay? So the next time you're in Scotland and people start talking to you and you're like, what? I've got something on my face, what? No, it's normal, you have to talk. And I really missed those parasocial relationships with, somebody you like that runs a restaurant, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also I think, if you're in midlife, you have family members maybe getting older, you have friends having maybe crises or people getting sick, you have your children. It's a lot, I find. It is a lot. But part of that, when you're like, okay, well, maybe my parents are old and I'm worried, or my children are starting out in the world. But also part of that is you do feel a lot of love. It is a lot of, what's the word? You're needed.
Yeah.
It's a lot of obligation, but also it's a lot of love of, people coming together to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does mean a lot to me, community.
And I think that that shows in your books, because you have this tendency to also give us like the backstories and the other people's stories, and not just the protagonist and her point of view. But we got the little novel about the doctor in Mure and his background, and it's all a part of this big puzzle.
Well, I think it was given to me as writing advice, but I think it is actually quite good advice for life, which is when you're writing, every character that you write is the main character in their own story. You're just not telling that story today, you know, and I think it's quite, you know, I always find that useful, that everybody that walks through my books is having a lot happen to them. I'm not focusing on them specifically. But it's also true in life. We're all walking through as the main characters.
It probably also makes, you know, the novels more true to life, because very few people are like pure villains or pure or evil, like they tend to be in crime novels. It's, you know, even people that behave badly, there's very often a reason.
Yes, apart from several obvious world leaders, I'm sure we can think of. But most people have really
villains do exist.
Villains do exist, but most people have very good rationales for what they're doing, even if they clash directly with yours. I think the most obvious one is how much. This is terrible because I no longer have her, and it is very sad. But when I had my children, my mother really wanted to help and tell me how to do everything right. And it drove me crazy. You know, so she meant absolutely well. She just meant the best. But of course, it made me so bad, you know, so upset. And then she was like, why are you so, you know?
Yeah.
That's a very normal situation in life, of people coming from positions where they're very sure they're right, and, you know, but still.
Yeah. They do mean well, very often.
We have a huge trouble in the UK at the moment with sponsoring of book festivals. Oh, do you know what? It's really boring and political. Let's not. Let's talk about lovely books.
That made me curious, but we'll pick that up later then. So now we are here. The newest book from you in Norwegian is called, in Norwegian it's called Sommer over skyene. It's the summer skies.
Yes.
And it's set in a new place, so it's not part of any of the existing series. There's a new protagonist called Mure, and that's quite original, I think. I've never read a novel about a pilot before, a female pilot in a feel-good novel. Can you please tell us a bit about the book and about her?
Yeah, it's in the same universe. They all live in the same universe, but we have a lot, just like here, we have a lot of very small islands, inhabited islands. And you can take a boat, or very often you take these very tiny planes. And we call them puddle jumpers. Can you translate that?
Puddle jumpers. I don't think we have like a Norwegian word for the same, but altså pyttehoppere. Sånne små fly som bare flyr fra sølepytt til sølepytt. Yeah.
So the flight will be 19 minutes. And they don't all have airports, so in some islands you land on the beach. You just wait until the tide goes out and then you come into the beach. And I thought, oh, that is cool. I am interested in this. And so I did some research into being a pilot and realized I thought pilots were just like, you know, press the button and the computer does it. No, it's very complicated.
Not that easy.
It's not that easy. But pilots, they love to fly. I found this out. If you know any pilots, they love their jobs. And I liked that passion about it, that, you know, these people just were nuts. And I took one flying lesson, and from Glasgow, which is a big city, and we took off on the same runway. So it was a tiny little plane, like a bicycle with wings. But it was the same runway as like the Emirates flight to Doha. It was like, and then it was us. So we went up, and I kind of flew it a little bit, and it was very interesting. And then we came back down, and then I was. And the instructor, he turned to me. He was older, and his face was like, "Wasn't that amazing?" And I said, "Yeah, it was really interesting. It was very interesting. Yeah, it was great. And he said, when's your next lesson? And I said, no, thank you. I just wanted to see what it was like. He couldn't believe that if you had the chance to fly, you wouldn't immediately dedicate your life to just flying all the time. They love flying. So it's about more, because she has to crash land, which is always cool, I think. She has to crash land on an island nobody lives on, or do they? Is there perhaps one person that has to look after the island? So I just wanted that to be fun and to write about, just like in Norway, we have very remote places and empty spaces. And so
I think there is many places in Norway that will feel similar.
Yes.
And like we went to the north of Norway earlier, and I think that many people there also felt related.
Yes.
And
I had so much fun. Tromsø, I knew I was going to like Tromsø. Bodø's a great town as well.
Bodø,
I love this country.
And the funny thing is, we had there was so much plane trouble going to Bodø and Tromsø, just talking about this book about flights, and the library in Bodø.
We kept being late.
We were 90 minutes late, and people were still waiting. So you can take that as very big compliment.
Very emotional, yes.
But it all went very well. And I must say, I for one am happy that you did not decide to take up, like a professional pilot, but decided to stay on as a writer.
Oh, I can't do the hard sums.
But so it's not like a new series, but you are going to write new things in the from the same community?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to write, yes, exactly, to build a community and to have people so that when you read a new one, you don't have to have read the other ones. It's a new story, but you'll see people that you know come in now. That's what I like.
You will recognize the environment.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you'll know the town. Yeah. We'll have a little map. I like a little map.
Yeah, that's nice. I also just wanted to talk shortly about the upcoming Christmas book. So we are publishing here the first one, the Christmas bookshop.
Oh, you're gonna like this one.
Yeah. So this is just a taste of that. You'll probably, I hope, be back here before Christmas, so and then people here will be able to get that too in Norwegian. But do tell us a little bit about it.
Because I was not. I wasn't expected to write a book that Christmas, and it was lockdown. And Edinburgh is a bit like Oslo, but really touristic, really, really busy all the time. And suddenly it was empty. And it doesn't always snow in December in Edinburgh, but it snowed that Christmas. The empty streets, the snow on the towers. It was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And I kind of emailed my editor and said, I'd like to write a book set here, because it felt like magic. Because when you were walking, Edinburgh is like this, it's all hills, so you have to walk up steps, and you'd walk up these steps with no one around, no cars, the snow falling, and suddenly you were like, this is what it was like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, this is what it was like, And so they very kindly said, sure.
You can make a Christmas novel from
Edinburgh.
However,
the funny thing that happened is they worked really hard. So I finished the book, and in America and Britain, they published it really fast. However, the book got printed. Do you remember when the tanker got stuck in the canal? Now, when books come out at Christmas time, they have like 4 weeks in the shops. Nobody buys them in January. You have to get there. They weren't on the tanker. They were 3 boats behind the tanker. And it was just like every day, it was like, have they dug out the tanker? So they finally made it.
Did they make it before Christmas?
What's that?
Did they make it into the shops before Christmas?
This was for America, and they made it really late. But the brilliant thing is, because they were so late, they had a lot of people who had been waiting to buy it. So on the first day, they were kind of like, the books are here. and that was my highest best-selling book in America.
So this is that is almost like a Christmas novel or a Christmas movie in itself. Like
what, sitting on a tanker? Are you sure?
No, about the author that's worked so hard, and will it get there in the end?
Oh yeah, maybe there's a handsome captain.
Maybe
working hard.
Yeah, so
but I'm so glad that's coming out this Christmas, because I think you will be able to tell when you see it that it was written in a great rush of love for my home city, or my city.
Love for Edinburgh, and also for bookshops.
And for bookshops.
Because, of course, the protagonist, she loses her job, and she gets help from her maybe too helpful sister, and she sets her up working in a bookshop and fails to mention that everything is hopeless and it's almost bankrupt. But yeah, we'll talk more about that book later when you get back. So for now, it's The Summer Skies. That is the newest one, and we also have the other ones here for people that haven't read everything already. So I want to thank you very much for coming, Jenny.
Tack.
Yeah, tack. You can do it. That's very well.
And I can say in a shop if people want me to have a bag or not. Pus.
Puse? Yeah. Oh, okay. You're working on it. You'll be an honorary citizen of Norway soon. Yeah.
I don't want to be an honorary citizen. I want to be a real citizen with a proper European passport. Thank you.